Kings and queens, welcome to part 2 of the Mathieu Cote interview, the lightning round. This is going to be a lot of fun and it is pretty juicy. So Paulie and I are going to be taking turns asking Mathieu some questions, and he can only answer these questions with yes, no, and pass, and in some of them he can elaborate. Towards the end, we have a little bit more of an open-ended response where he can elaborate more on some of his ideas, and it's a great watch. I hope you guys do enjoy, and with that being said, let's jump into the interview. So yeah, you know how this works? We might stop a little to process everything, but you can go as fast as you like. Hopefully we can crack you on something. Alrighty, I'll start it off.
Shoot.
Will we see more of Benedict Baker?
Pass. That's a poor start, but I can't say anything else.
Alright, Paulie, you're up.
Are we gonna have story mode in DBD?
What's your idea of story mode?
Like,
King wrote this, you answer.
What does that mean to you?
Like a single player aspect to the game instead of multiplayer, where you could learn a little bit more about the characters, etc.
No.
Okay. Haddie, will we ever learn more about her?
Pass.
Okay.
Will we ever see a start game feature like we have an end game collapse come? Will there be a start of the game that is unique?
It's hard when you ask about the future, because if you asked me about the end game collapse 3 years ago, I would have said no, and I would have lied. So I'll say no. Maybe that's a lie.
Okay. Let's see. My brain.
You're gonna save that one for me, and you go to the next one.
Yeah. I'll say that one for you. Will DVD ever explore a TV show option?
Pass.
Give maybes. Nah.
I can't maybe.
Will we be able to get Dead by Daylight funkos from you for free in the future?
You personally? You could, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Just Paulie.
Just
Yeah,
Paulie.
why?
If I have to buy one myself and send it to you, I will.
Fair. Thank you.
Man.
My birthday's October 19th, by the way. That might be a little soon.
I'm October 5th, and I'm just waiting here like, yeah. I'll remember this. This question. Will the teacher files ever be used again?
Have they been used?
Well, that was the other part. Or have they been used yet?
That's my question. Have they been used?
I've never seen them in game.
I never seen them.
Then you have work to do.
Oh,
No.
He's saying they've been used in some way? Oh my god! Oh no. Alright. Will we see a continuation of the Pariahs storyline featuring more of the Pariahs?
Yes.
Ooh, I love it.
Will we ever see the introduction of more types of cosmetics, like maybe boots, bags, similar to charms, but more aspects of that?
Pass.
Okay.
It's a complex one.
All right.
With the assets we have, can we solve the language of the entity that we see in various aspects of the game, such as the writings on the first anniversary weapons, some of the characters' bodies, scrawled on the walls of the shack of the saloon, etc.?
I believe so.
Oh no. There's so much to do now. Oh no. Okay. Do killers get to interact with each other?
It's not a yes.
I gotta follow up to that. Were the Blight's experiments on the killers canon?
What? Repeat that.
Were the Blight's experiments on the other killers canon? Is it true to the lore?
That's a very good question. I think so. I think
Okay.
so. They're real to me.
Okay, so killers interact with each other in some way or the other. Interesting.
Next question, King, is written here. Will we see old characters come into DBD? Do you mean the alpha models? Is that what you mean by this, King?
More
What do you
so
mean by that?
characters that we've heard about in bits and
Like
pieces here and
Vigo
there.
Like Vigo?
Yeah,
Okay.
Vigo, those type of people.
Not the ones from the original cinematic that used to play
No,
in the
no,
first
not that.
version of the game, which are actually just original concepts.
Okay, so this would cover Vigo, Benedict, those type of people.
Right.
Will we see those people in DBD?
If it's just Vigo and Benedict, I'd say no.
All right. Does the entity have a competitor or maybe even a rival?
Probably. That's a good question, but probably. Everything does.
Interesting. The gears are turning. The gears are turning.
Will we see an expansion on the story of the Black Vale, perhaps even in a chapter?
Yes.
Ooh. Oh no. Is the observer safe from the entity?
Safe is a very strong term. He's definitely trapped, so no.
Okay. I think that's a repeat, so you could skip that one, Paulie.
Okay, let's see. Have you won any chapter related bets?
Me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he has to think a long ways back.
I guess yes. In many cases. Yeah.
Ah. Any recently?
Yes, in the process of chapters happening, there are guesses and there are hopes, and some of them are actually resolved positively, is how I'll put it.
It's interesting. Will we ever get cross progression?
Pass.
Okay.
Are any of the characters in Dead by Daylight in a relationship with one another?
Well, they say hardships increases intimacy. So one would assume that some of them actually feel some kinship. So yeah, I'd say yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Could we see killers come in as survivors or vice versa? Survivors come in as killers?
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we would.
I think no, and this is how I'll answer it. Like a long time ago, we had thought of doing like a super complicated secret thing where you could potentially kill a killer or something like that. Like a really weird, like an impossible to do sequence of events that would lead you to be able as a survivor to do something and kill a killer, and then maybe ascend and become a killer yourself. But that would entail removing that survivor to transform them into a killer, and vice versa. If we were to redeem a killer and turn them into a survivor, then we'd have to remove the killer version of them, and we don't want to remove characters.
So not really a plan to explore
So
the
there's not
multiverse that the Observer talks about with different versions of the same person.
Not within Dead by Daylight.
Okay,
Now
interesting.
within Dead by Daylight.
I do have a Muppet show that I do, a little puppeteering show that I do at home that has some non-canonical stuff, but that's a different thing.
Oh, man.
Let's see. So some of these are kind of the same thread then. You want to do the basement one, King?
Yeah, sure. Will the basement ever see some changes?
I'd say yes.
Ooh,
Interesting.
that's an interesting one.
Do golden toolboxes actually exist?
No.
No.
Paulie, you're off the meds, man. Oh man. Are there any new ciphers or codes that were made in 2021 that we can still find?
Oh, that's a doozy. Pass.
Are there any codes or ciphers in Dead by Daylight in general that we are yet to solve that we can find?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, near turn, Paulie.
Well, this is going to be a pass, I'm sure. Will Pinhead's voice lines return?
Pass.
Will the entity ever fully go into the real world?
I sure hope not.
Besides golden toolboxes, are there any Easter eggs that the community has yet to find?
Yes.
Oh man. Will we see any new original maps anytime soon?
See, you could have stopped before anytime soon, and that would have been a very valid question. Now, soon is a very loaded word, as we all know. So,
How about
new maps, new
6th
original maps? I will say yes. Absolutely, you will get new original maps. Soon? That's not possible.
Okay. All right.
Oh, this is a good one. So are any chapters ever replacements? Like a character was designed to present to a licensor and they passed and then you converted it into an original?
That is a very good question. And the answer is no.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And that's because every single time we craft a character power, let's say, because I think that's mostly what the question is about, like a killer power, it is bespoke. It is made custom for that character. And most of the time it wouldn't make much sense. And we've had very few hard passes. Most of the time it's not the right time, or it's not exactly that, or maybe we can talk later, and therefore we would never want to destroy that to a certain extent. And we have so many more ideas of characters to do that we don't need to reuse it. We can leave it aside and do another one instead.
So, follow up to that. Have any of the licensed chapters we've seen thus far been set aside and revisited later?
Like, as far as the timing aspect, it's not a good time.
Right.
You say, well, how about now? Is it a good time now?
Well, any that have been released right now, there are some that didn't release at the time we thought they would. But yeah, I can say that.
Huh.
These things are complicated.
Of course. Oh man. Now I'm thinking of so many things, Paulie. It's so much information to soak
But it
in.
doesn't really change anything, does it?
No.
Alrighty. Will we see more legendary skins coming into the game?
Yes.
Will we see more licensed archive tomes?
Yes.
Ooh. Will we see even more secondary objectives coming into the game?
I wish a magic 8-ball. All signs point to yes.
So we've seen...
They're super fun. People like them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen 2 survivors come out in one DLC. Do you ever think we'll see 2 killers come out in one DLC, other than, Frank and Julie, obviously, the Legion?
Or the twins.
Or the twins, that's true.
So, yeah, it has happened. And we keep saying, no, we'll never do that again because it's crazy. And then we do it again. So I'd say your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
Will we see new items coming into the game?
Pass.
Any more licensed chapters this year? I'm just laughing by the way the questions are falling. This is my turn, so
yeah, pass.
We're just gonna cut out that pass part. Just leave the yeah. Let people go crazy. I just looked at the next
You can just do that. You can just record me going, yes. And just snap that onto everything.
Oh man. Were the balloon animals in your tweet a hint to anything?
Well, they certainly were a hint that I enjoy balloon animals. No. People read way too much into my tweets.
Yes, they.
Yeah, I may know a guy.
Is it the one about my
know a guy.
friend's name is Simon?
Oh Lord.
Oh no.
But you, I will say that you said, "Is this just an interesting fact about my life or a hint to something?"
I have like 5
You're
friends
leading
in
us
my
down
life.
the garden path.
2 of them are called Simon. Does that mean something? I don't know.
Oh man.
Is that it?
Oh,
What else you got?
Nope.
Couple more.
Okay.
Let's see. Will we see more licensed paragraph survivors?
That's awfully specific.
Mm-hmm. I didn't write most of these. He collected these from community.
Way to throw him under the bus. I'd say pass.
We'll follow up. Will we just see any licensed survivors coming?
How's that different? Like, is there gonna ever be
It's
another?
not, I'm just trying to get
licensed
something
A
out.
survivor?
paragraph would be like Ash.
A
Yeah, no,
paragraph
I
would just
know,
be like
right,
that.
So you're asking if
Yeah.
there's ever gonna be another licensed survivor in Dead by Daylight? Ever?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's probably.
I'm
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Likely.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Are there any new Easter eggs about content creators in the game?
No.
Let's see. I'm gonna save that one for you, King. Do devs ever watch content creators' Dead by Daylight YouTube videos? That's easy.
Yes, many do, and often.
I got a follow up to that one too. Are any of these? Wait, we might have that. Never mind. I'll save it for later. Ooh, here's a good one. Robert Englund.
Oh yeah. How is he?
You tell us. Have you talked to him recently?
No, I don't know him personally. He's a good guy, I hear.
Seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the question.
Okay. That was
it.
not a question, but okay. Cool.
Can we visit you one day in the studios when it's safe?
Yes. We always love to welcome visitors. And then we have one small little room like this with dark windows that you can stand in so that you don't see anything.
What?
No,
Wait,
no.
just-
Is
But
it a
you can-
closet?
we just yes, we absolutely love having visitors. I've been to the office last month. I passed by to grab some stuff, but we probably have between 50 and 75 people who actually are in the office on any given day.
Oh yeah,
Out of
more than I would have guessed.
but out of about 1,000 people now at Behavior.
Wow.
Yeah.
One day
on
when
on the DBD team, I don't know how many people, but yeah, it's like, let's say every day when I have meetings, I see people sitting in the office. There's one of them in the meeting, at least, sitting in the office. And if you go there, I might show up just to say hi.
Oh. Look at that, Paulie.
One last question.
Yeah.
Do you think Paulie is too crazy for Candyman?
Absolutely not. I please never stop that. Seriously, I enjoy thoroughly your tinfoil antics, and yeah, I would be sad if you stopped.
Well, thank you.
Alrighty. Well, those were the yes or no ones. We have a few open-ended ones that you could elaborate a little bit more on here. I'll rubber band offer that last question because more gears are turning in my head. Do like these tinfoil talks and all these theory videos, and they obviously build up a lot of hype. Do these ever give leeway when it comes down to, speaking to the licensors?
I don't think it's a major thing. It's just, those things are like every single one of those conversations, every single one of those processes is unique, and it's people. It's one of the parts that I enjoy about my job. Actually, it's because it's about people, and it's trying to find a way to make everybody happy in this.
Do any of these conversations that you see happen organically on Twitter or through commentary through a video about someone's preferred license ever influence you as far as seeking out a license? Like when you say, well, I had underestimated, for example, the FNAF fan base or something like that, and you think...
It can have an impact, but I have to say that by now, there's no big surprises in there. Like the list has been pretty stable. I know what I have to do.
So pretty well everything has already been on your list, and there's nothing that's been under your radar.
To a certain extent, there's always going to be the hot newcomer that's everybody's talking about that thing now, and you go
Fear Street, for example, would be one of those.
As an example of a newcomer in the world of horror, and as a museum, to come back to that again, art does not need to be 500 years old to be good. It doesn't need to.
Right.
And it's absolutely possible to show something that is current and extremely relevant.
Will we ever see legendary or licensed skins for the original characters? Because mainly we've seen them for, the licensed characters. We obviously got one. Nah.
It's a very good question.
Fair enough. So,
here's one.
I'm glad you asked it.
It's wait, hold on, wait. It's not restricted to license. Nothing. You're not gonna give me nothing.
No, I'm not gonna give you anything other than I really like that you asked that question.
Okay.
Here's one. So with the departure of the Stranger Things license, is there an urgency, or does this influence you in any way to find a replacement license from the world of television horror necessarily, or doesn't mean
in the sense that it doesn't matter where a license comes from, whether it's a book or a TV show or a movie or a video game. If it's a cool horror license, then it has its place in Dead by Daylight. and we don't have like sockets that we need to fill with the right gem. That's just not how it works.
Right. So we needed to have X amount from video game, X amount from movie, television, etc.
I've never thought about it that way.
Whatever. Gotcha. Okay.
If it's relevant, if you're an icon or a legend of horror, or if you're just extremely cool, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, the crypt characters that we released as legendary skins were, I mean, crypt is not necessarily the biggest thing out there, but it was really it had a cult following, and it was something that we wanted to put in the game, and that's it.
On that point, I will say that I think that it's very cool that Jason Blum himself would love to be a character in Dead by Daylight, because he is obviously somebody who knows and appreciates the game, and I can only imagine how that makes it easier from your standpoint to perhaps convince him to allow other characters from Crypt TV for a second wave, or from other films that he's worked on, to come to Dead by Daylight.
That would be very nice indeed, if that helped.
It can't hurt. It can't hurt.
Man.
Probably not.
Alrighty. Here's a good one. Does the dev team ever get inspired on some of these fan-made concepts for chapter ideas, whether that's perks, killers, powers? Is there anything like you're saying, wow, this is a good idea?
Well, I mean, obviously there are some good ideas out there, but you have to also consider that there's a team of many people right now whose job it is, 40 hours a week to sit down and come up with ideas about the design of Dead by Daylight. So most fan ideas are not as original as they think they are, I'd say, without being dismissive in any way. It's just, I mean, let's say we have 10 people on the design team whose job it is 40 hours a week to come up with interesting ideas and tweaks and changes and new killer powers and new perks every day for the last 5 years. We're bound to have gone around the block a few times. But inspiration can come from many different ways, and it doesn't even have to be video games, or it could be a book you're reading right now. It could be something stupid that your cat did yesterday that sparked an idea. That's the magic of it.
So Matthew, you and I and King, we all come from very diverse, large metropolitan cities where we walk out of our door and we see people who come from all walks of life in our everyday life. And I always feel like Dead by Daylight does a good job of conveying that. And I love that our game brings people from all around the world, from all walks of life together. So how much consciousness would you say goes into creation of characters that you want them to have backgrounds from different places, different walks of life, things like that?
That's a very delicate question, and it's also a question that could probably warrant its own 2-hour conversation. Let's say that the desire to have characters that people can empathize with and identify with has always been there in Dead by Daylight. From the very beginning, we, there was the very early on, we talked about potentially using the cliches of horror, like we talked about having the jock and the virgin and the classics of the horror world. Watch Cabin in the Woods. It's all very clearly explained. And we very early on, we decided we did not want to go that way. First of all, it's very restrictive, but also mostly it is portraying cultural cliches that we think are from a bygone era. They do not need to continue to exist. They do not need to continue to be conveyed, and certainly not supported by something that we did. And we thought that horror works very well when you can identify with the victim, and therefore the survivors, we felt, needed to be people that would be representative of you or me, that looks like my neighbor, or the person I'm behind at the coffee shop, and therefore there was always that intention. Now, you're right, we come from different backgrounds, but then again, I'm a white guy from Quebec, and therefore my worldview is tainted by that. And therefore, we had to, over the years, become more knowledgeable and more and go and get expertise elsewhere to try to help us make sure that whatever our version of those varied backgrounds and characters was done respectfully and was done well. And it's an ongoing effort, and I know that we still have quite a lot of ways to go to make sure that we continue with that desire of representation in the game. I think we've done a couple of things very, very well, and I'm very proud of that, and I think that we can do a lot more. And that's certainly a discourse that is almost daily in the office. Every single new character that we bring in, every line of text that is written, like I say, it started with a desire and an intention. Nowadays, it's a constant concern, and not a concern in the sense of we're scared, but it's a concern in the sense that we are conscious of the impact that these things can have. Seeing, I can remember clips when we released Elodie of people going, "Oh my God, I have hair like this," and going, yeah, "I feel me in this." That's massive, and I keep saying we can do better. I know we can do better than this, but we will continue to try, and that's for sure. We're not scared to try, and we want to be on the right side of history on this one.
That's unless you have any more questions, Paulie, I think that's a fantastic way to end it.
I think that's a good way to end it for sure.
Okay, I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty, well. Oh man, I don't know. Chicken. I want chicken. First of all, thank you guys. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Paulie, for joining us today on this wonderful interview. It was a lot of fun, great conversations, and definitely a lot to think about. We always appreciate you being here and giving us your time.
It's so nice to see you grow into what you've become right now, and I say that to Paulie too. I mean, the change has been big in Dead by Daylight. We talked a little bit about that in today, but you also, as content creators, have come leaps and bounds since the beginnings, and it's kind of awesome to be able to watch you. Keep at it.
Well, thanks so much. I think I can speak for King when I say, what was born out of a hobby and something that we both love to reach the levels that we have is just something that neither of us could have ever dreamed would have happened. Yeah. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to do it for us. Everyone's links will be down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you all in the fog.